cool things today. And by cool things, I mean, we're going to talk about how you can use some of the objections that people have about working with your industry, with your business. Mac, my assistant, is here to help. We're going to talk about how to use some of those misconceptions to uniquely position yourself and to market yourself and to set aside how you can be a key differentiator in this. And this ties into your USP, this ties into your marketing, this ties into your messaging platform, this ties into all the things that you wish people knew about working with you. So, in advance of this live, I posted a question in the Women's Entrepreneur Network group, which some of you may be watching from. I'm also streaming live on YouTube and on LinkedIn. So if this is something that you've stressed over or struggled with, or it's a hiccup in your sales process, there's a lot you can do in your marketing before you even get on a call with people, before you even have any kind of communication with them, to kind of help them work through these beliefs and kind of shift these beliefs about what they think is possible, or what they think is standing in their way, or what they think is going to be a deal breaker. Or even some of them might be expectations about how quickly results will happen. All of those things you can address in your web copy, in your marketing materials, in your blog posts, in your emails, in your onboarding information, right? So what I want to do today is I want to take some time to run through some of these common misconceptions that people have posted in the chat, because I think this is a really good opportunity to say, this is how I can show up. This is how I can improve. This is how I can shift beliefs. Again, whether it's in my web copy, whether it's in my social media, anywhere that you show up, any conversations that you're having. So what I think that the first place to start is to say, even if you believe this, or show them the possibility, even if, So one thing that I just worked on for a client for a sales page is that you can actually take a week off every month, even if you are currently slammed. Like the belief might be, there's no way I could take an entire week off every month. I'm just too busy. I'm always working weekends. I'm always working evenings. I'm always on the go, right? So, someone said, hi, Mac. Sorry, I can't see names. It's that's the challenge with Be Live. So yes, Mac is, now he's gone again, but he'll be back. I just about guarantee it. And Happy New Year to you as well. So, what is that belief? If the belief is there's no way I can do this thing because I am so absolutely slammed, I'm so busy, then, oh, hey, Tanika. Yeah, so, I totally lost my train of thought. So yeah, so if that is the belief, how can you shift it? You can then help people understand that you understand them. That it's like, yes, I know you're so busy. Here's where you are. Here are all the things that are going on in your life, but here's the possibility. And maybe it's as simple as taking one day off a week, which then leads to taking a week off a month. Right? It's simple little shifts like that. It doesn't necessarily mean going on vacation. Maybe for you, it's not the ability to take an entire week off at a time. Maybe it's just taking a week off from client work and spending that week every month or that day every week working on your business. So there's things like that. So what I'd like to do now is kind of talk about what some of these statements might be that people are coming up with in the post. And I'm going to go ahead and link the post. Sorry, I'm on my other screen here. So if it looks like I'm looking off, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this other link into chat, link of the post. Oh, it's not letting me post comments. Well, I'll add it to this chat after the fact then. How does that sound for rolling with the punches here? So what I want to do then, I'm going to say this like 6 times while I figure out what I'm doing. So I'm going to run through. These are the questions. So Tracy Taylor said, one of the biggest misconceptions in my industry is that social media works instantly, right? Like if any of us have been in business and we've been on social media for a while, you might get really lucky, right? You might get really lucky. And we've all seen those crazy success stories of people who, like, I made one post and I made $1 million, or I made $100,000. I made $5,000. The reality is you're probably not going to make $1 from a social media post, from a single one, if that is your only post. The reason that people make a ton of money from a single post is because they've already developed their audience. They already know what their audience is looking for. They've already warmed them up. And so, so even, this isn't one that you would handle like necessarily in the sales copy, that like, you wouldn't say you can make $1 million even if you've never posted on social media, because it is possible, but that's not like managing expectations very well. So how can you use that problem to manage expectations? And then, so I think what you do then is you position it as a process, right? And you show like, okay, this is like this minimum, probably 3 to 6 month process. And probably, depending on how frequently you're posting or what the kinds of posts are, it's going to take that much to build brand awareness, to develop your audience, and then you can go out and reach them with a sales campaign. In fact, I just did something similar for a client in the last year where she didn't have brand awareness. And I'm working on a case study for this. Actually hopped off of the case study and into the Be Live. So I'm literally working on it as we speak, about those results, and how for the first 6 months we spent time building the brand. And then after that, we were able to do a sales campaign that has led to 5 figures a month of recurring revenue. So that's over 6 figures a year, right? So I think there's ways to do that. And so maybe part of that is in your marketing materials. And I say materials again, it's web copy, blogs, emails, social media, anywhere that you show up, what the realities are, what the expectations are. And then you can also be talking about, this is a myth that you're going to bust. Like, if someone's promising you like millions of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars from a little bit of effort, this info is gold. Erin Pennings, hey, thank you for that. That always makes me like super happy. Oh, I can show that. Cool. This is getting fun. See, it just says Facebook user. So I'm learning Be Live as we go. So it's not that post, it is the process. And so if you can manage that in everything that you're doing, then that's where you see the success. And so you can talk about the misconceptions, and that's what's going to trigger some really cool feedback on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, on even your YouTube, on your email. It's going to drive responses, right? So let's just keep going through it. That we charge too much is another misconception. I think, and it's something that we all battle on a regular basis, is our rates. It's like, wow, how do you charge so much? So you have to do a really good job of building the value, of showing them the benefit of each step. Another person I was working with couldn't show the value of this intensive service until she showed, you get more deliverables in a 3 to 6 month process, but in a 1 week process, you get 90% of the way there, and you're not waiting 3 to 6 months. We can push that down and give you what you need to succeed, to move things forward. So there's some ways to build value, even if the shorter offer remains your core offer. By showing what the value is of the bigger step, you can say, oh, well, here's what you're getting, and it's actually going to be this. And there's a number of ways to attack that. It really just depends on what the offer is, what your audience is expecting, and how you can delight them by exceeding their expectations. So, and again, you handle that probably in your process page or on your services page by building up the value. I'm just running through this. So Melanie Maring said, that what I do is boring. And I was like, well, what do you do? And she's like, accounting. And I'm like, I 100% can guarantee that accounting is not boring. Some people are numbers people and some people aren't. And, ironically, I did really, really well in math in school, but accounting is like separate math. Bookkeeping is separate math, because there's ways to look at the numbers that doesn't necessarily make sense to me. Especially when you're massaging all the things. That's why I hire a bookkeeper, and bookkeepers protect your profit. So I think the job then of your marketing as a bookkeeper or accounting professional, and maybe someone who faces your profession's boring. Like, you can show the wins that you've gotten with people. You can show like the real benefits of working with you, because it takes some education, and it's something that unless you've had a bookkeeper, you don't necessarily understand the value of a bookkeeper. Um, like, personally, I love knowing that like anything that I do wrong, Erica's gonna catch me and she's gonna be like, no, 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 no. And then my CPA is insanely happy because what I hand to her at the end of the year is like this beautiful package. And I have a meeting with her on Friday, actually, to just make sure there's nothing else that she needs that I can bring to her. Um, Here's one that I plugged in there, that copywriting is just writing what people want to say. And the difference is that there's more to it than that, of course, but so it's more about what your audience cares about. And this is a podcast that I appeared on last week, and I think it's currently live, and then it's going to be live on Apple Podcasts very soon. But it's like, so it's actually not about you. Your website, anything that you do in terms of marketing, is less about you and more about your audience and what they need to hear. It's more about what their beliefs are and what they need to understand. So I can talk more about copywriting later. That it's based, and I'm not sure what she does, Andrea Orms, that it's based on talent rather than learned skill, right? That's challenging to come up with. So yes, talent usually plays into a lot of the things. And again, not knowing what she does, but talent plays into a ton of things. But skill is just as important, if not more so, because skill gives you the strategy to use that talent. Skill, or, and maybe it's not always strategy, but the framework to make it effective. So it allows you to harness that natural talent. So there's different ways you can talk about it and position it. At social media marketing, Lori, social media marketing is all about knowing how TikTok works and how to upload a YouTube video. Yeah, there's a lot more to it than that, especially if you're doing paid. There's strategy, and even with TikTok and YouTube video, there's always going to be the next platform. So you have to know the marketing basics, right? You have to know the technical, but you also have to know the strategy behind it. Because if you know the why, then you can like extrapolate from the why to the how every single time. What you can't do is, come up with a new why for every platform, everything, because there's going to be so much more that's coming up. So I think in that I'd lead into the strategy, right? Someone's like that being a virtual assistant or working from home means you don't do anything all day. There's so many things that I have to say on this. Yeah, and I think that's probably an objection to your family, or, you're just a virtual assistant. You have plenty of time, right? And it's like, no one is just a virtual anything. No one is just anything. Just and only are my least two favorite words in the English language, because it's never just that simple. It's never only something. There's always more to it than you think, unless you are literally like putting tab A into slot B. And even then you have to know when and how and all the things. So there's definitely more to it than that. And, part of that, a way around that might be showing stories on Instagram of like, there's that, TikTok Reels, soundtrack where it's like da 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 da. You could create some really cool reels there. Like, ask me, I've never done a reel that's more than me talking, because I have not figured out all of the technical stuff yet. After I was just like, yeah, you can figure out the technical anything, but I haven't spent the time there. So we're about 15 minutes in. I'm going to do a couple more of these, and then I'm going to keep going. Do a couple more, and then we can address more of these tomorrow. If this was valuable, and I've gotten a couple comments saying, yes, it is. It's the process. This is gold. So let's address some more of these tomorrow, because I think this is really, really fun, and a great way to do it. So two more, and then we're going to sign off for the day. One is that it's simple or easy to create effective brand content, or that your DIY website is going to turn out the same as if you hired a professional. Whoa, this is like amazing stuff, right? So you're right. It is not easy or simple to create effective brand content. Remember, it's like just and only. It's never easy. It's never simple. It's never just. It's never only. you have to have a brand strategy in place. You have to know how you want to show up. You have to know how you want to make people feel. Um, so that's a really important one. And that your DIY website. Yeah, I mean, I DIY'd my website, and granted, I'm a copywriter and I know some basic principles of design, but like there's so much more that goes into it. So I like my website. I don't love it, and I know that. So, had I hired someone, but, I have relationships with designers who have helped me along the way. Same thing goes with copy, and that's actually why I created Womp Womp to Wow, because it gives people an opportunity to get a little virtual handholding, some done with you copy, right? That gives you the opportunity to pop your questions in, to calls that are ongoing, to do some hot seats, yada, 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 yada. So that's what I've got there. And finally, that mindset work is not necessary, worth the time commitment or investment. Well, that's hard. That's so hard. And Jesse, you are spot on, because it is. It's tricky. It's tricky to show the value if someone has never gone through mindset work, until someone has never had to physically shift their own beliefs. That's hard. So how do you address that in your marketing? It's like you show the possibilities, you show the testimonials, and I think you're regularly showing up and talking about the beliefs that people shift, because people are more likely to believe the possibility about other people than they are about themselves. And they're like, oh, I can do that. It's like, sure, you can, but will you? If you were to start this right now, change doesn't come from nothing. Change comes from change, right? So if you do one little thing, what will that be? And so, like, I would say you could handle it in some challenges, some freebies, maybe. I don't know. There's some really fun, subtle ways that you could do that, that you could show that. Or maybe you're talking not about mindset, but you're talking about some of the results. And the process is, of course, shifting mindset and helping people consider new things. But you don't talk about it in terms of mindset unless your audience is already solution aware. If your audience is only pain aware, you figure out what their pains are, and then you show them the end result of that to make it more palatable. Because it is, it's hard. It's hard to invest in ourselves. It's easy to invest in some things, but it's hard to invest in ourselves. Um, and then there's some really, really, really interesting things in here. And I haven't even gotten to them all. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and hold off. I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. We're going to address more of these. We're going to show some shifts. And so, yeah, so this is all, the show is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 10 Eastern. And it is all about positioning yourself to turn your messaging into magic. And so we're going to address everything from website copy to handling objections. And some of this happens on sales calls, but if we can do it ahead of the sales call, that makes your job so much easier. So thanks everyone who tuned in, who's watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, please. And I'm going to pop the link to that conversation where we talked about misconceptions, and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful, I don't know what it is. It's Tuesday. Have a wonderful Tuesday. All right. Take care. It always takes a minute to stop. So I'm just going to sit here and smile awkwardly until it does.